This is the Ryan Luelf Show.
You are back, folks. This is the Ryan Luelf Show, and for part 4, I'm so glad to have my guest and dear friend Kim right here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. We have just been having some fascinating conversations. I'm sure by now you can't stop looking at him, and you certainly can't stop listening to that New Zealand accent. But at the same time, in all genuineness, I think he has some very fascinating ideas. He has such a unique approach to the way he goes about his human life. And I told him, I said, hey, I hope you have a little bit more time, because I definitely want to have you back one more time for part 4. I've got a few more things I really want him to talk about. And one is, Kim, I'd love to just launch into this episode. We were having a conversation a couple of days ago at your home, the day that the gym is closed, and we were going to do a workout at your house, and we ended up just doing a mind workout, I think you called it, for a couple of hours. And you had a very, I felt like, a unique and interesting perspective on the idea of hierarchy. Can you kind of bring that conversation to light for our listeners and remind me of how we got to that point, and then kind of your perspective on it? Because I found it super helpful. You changed my view on, and it made me even reconsider a lot of things that I feel like, oh, I don't like that, or it's unnecessary. It's kind of like what you were talking about with mosquitoes. And then you gave me a completely different perspective, and I was like, oh, wow, maybe things I find unnecessary are more necessary than I realize.
Yeah, and I think you were relating that to like religion, I guess, and these kind of things. So it's two things. Like, I read Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules to Life, and the first chapter is about hierarchy and this natural hierarchy. And another thing was a TED talk on like how chimps operate in society, and they had studied like alpha female and male chimps and how they operated, and what they found in those alpha chimps kind of rewrote how we think of alphas in the human world. And so with hierarchy, like, whether you like it or not, whether you think hierarchy is bad or good, hierarchy is natural. So like, it's in dogs, it's in cats, it's in Jordan Peterson's book, he talks about it being in lobsters. You know what I mean? Like, there's a king lobster that'll cruise around and clip all the bigger ones. And so we also all feel it in our minds. Like, if you've won a lot of debates, your brain sends you these reward chemicals that you'll probably win the next one. So you get more confident. If you've lost a bunch of debates because you've had bad opinions or you've been fed bad ideas, your brain sends you the opposite. You lose these qualities and you feel like you probably lose the next one. So you get on these downward and upward trends in your life depending on how you've been living your life. And so energetically, there's like a natural hierarchy. Some people are natural leaders, and it's not because they want to be, it's just because they're kind of suited for the job. And I think we live in a society where we're sick of hierarchies, but we need them to work. Like an example is family businesses always crumble if there isn't clear boundaries within a hierarchy. So, let's say a family makes a product, let's say they make coffee mugs, and those coffee mugs, everyone, like the kids make the mugs, the wife puts them in the kiln, the dad does the marketing, and the branding, and they sell them all together. If there isn't fundamental roles, the business will crumble. So you need a boss who has the final say. You need someone who's head of manufacturing. You need someone who's head of logistics. You need these roles outlined, because what happens is when people don't have these definitive roles, everyone acts like the boss, and everyone's trying to get power. There's a power struggle over every decision. What color the mug should be, what's the best time to ship them. But if you're just in charge of shipping, you're the boss of shipping until you talk to the boss, who could be anyone in the family, whoever's making the mugs. You're in charge of making the mugs until you talk to the boss. You need to have someone at the top who overlooks it. Their whole job is just to overlook the whole mechanism of the business. Right. And say yes or no to these things. And whether they're good at it or bad at it, that's important. But what's more important is that you have that hierarchy, because then you avoid not working on making money and operating efficiently, and instead you work on who's in control. And this is evident in like hippie communities or people so many people are like against hierarchy or against, patriarchy. But all patriarchy means is male led. Like, imagine if we were like, oh, I fucking hate matriarchy. But all that means is female led. And like, when it comes to like think about what matriarchy does. Like, every kind of like big social dinner party that you've been to, a huge part of it has been matriarchal. Like, women are really good at coming together, creating social events. Like your wife, Caroline, you know, she runs these pickleball competitions. Like, she's ultimate at organizing.
Oh,
and
man.
yeah, like in couples, women will do 60% of I think out of most couples, 60 to 70% of out of all couples, the females will organize vacations. You know, and there's so many factors. It's mainly because men don't actually give a shit where they're going or what hotel they're staying in. You know what I mean? But like, matriarchal leadership makes life better. Like, my wife cares what color the curtains are, so we're going to have nicer curtains. You know, like, matriarchal leadership's really, really good. But patriarchal leadership, it's so important. I always say, think about this. This is a crazy opinion, but imagine if all the men disappeared tomorrow. So like 98% of people who drive trucks are men, which transport food. 95% of people who work in power plants like dams and stuff, they're men. Like something like 90% of people who do construction are men. 50% of people who do farming are men. You know what I mean? So like, if all the men disappeared overnight, like electricity would turn off in a day. Food would stop getting, like, people who drive ships and all this stuff, like all these crappy jobs that like even we would hate to do are mainly male dominated. So like the whole world would stop working. But imagine if now the opposite happened, like all the women passed away. Well, there'd be no more children. So humanity would eventually die. We'd have way less like healthcare workers, you know, like in hospitals and stuff. But the electricity would stay on. Food would keep coming in. The world would still keep revolving. So it's like we have these, we're not equal, but we have equal importance. You know, like, women bring people together. They have way more empathy. They think about their extended family members. They just give a massive shit about other people. And men are just really good at doing things they don't want to do because it helps keep the engine running, you know, and that creates this beautiful unity where the world works well. And so matriarchal, patriarchal, male-led, female-led, both equally important, both completely necessary. Hierarchy, absolutely necessary. And I'll wrap this up with alphas. So like, when you think of alphas, for some reason people think about like Donald Trump as an alpha. But in the chimp societies, the alpha who leads the entire pack of chimps, or I think it's called clan of chimps, I'm not sure, but he won't, if his mother and his girlfriend are fighting, he won't pick a side. Instead, he'll be the bad guy to both of them. He'll stop them from fighting. The alphas tend to eat less and share more of their food with other monkeys.
Wow.
They'll also stand up to their position, and they'll, you know, like, dominate the other person, the other monkey that thinks he can lead, because he'll decide, I'm a better leader than you. So therefore, you're more selfish. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah.
You know, and if you think about real alphas in your life, they are like that. They're more giving, they're more sharing, they're more understanding. They avoid conflict. They help like simmer things down. They're not like dominant and ignore the weak. They're the complete opposite. They bring people together. That's what that true alphas are. So yeah, once we sort of stop negatively pointing the finger at like all these natural things that are necessary in life, we enjoy it a lot more. Like, hierarchy is natural, whether you want it to happen or not, it's going to be there.
Right.
You'll feel it. Patriarchy, matriarchy, all that means is leaders of different sexes.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it seems beautiful to me, because I've been practicing things like I go to the dentist and I lay in the chair and just feel so much gratitude that another human was drawn into that field and into that industry enough to go to school, to get trained, to pay a price, to suffer, to have to learn all these integral parts about teeth and everything that has to do with your mouth. And then because how much I value my teeth and how much I need them, and I have no clue on any of that. And then I get to go, and for a value exchange, I get to benefit because that human, I'm not drawn to it. I mean, I'd rather leave the earth than be in dental career, you know? But I just find that such a, it removes this competition. It removes this threat. It removes this jealousy. It's like, this is fucking amazing. I have no idea how the hell we all got here. And I have no idea if anyone potentially designed it or how they set it up, or if there is a being or what. Like, I guess on some level, it doesn't matter. I'd rather just be like a little kid that's just in so much awe and wonder at the uniqueness and the nuance, and I'm just too busy participating in it, that it's like, if you want to refer to whatever differently than me, cool, no problem. Yeah, I'm not here to argue. You just, if you need to be right more than I need to be right, I'm too busy living.
Yeah, dude. Living's what you got to do as well. Like, humanity has many flaws and we need to focus on them to solve them. But
yes,
at the same time, we've got to realize this is the best time to be alive. Like, it was just harder before, like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It may have been simpler, but then 100 years before that, someone could just come into your house with a sword and probably chop you down, or a gun if you're in the West, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, life was just harder. So, like, even though we've got flaws and problems, and so it could be all doom and we might not live to the next 50 years, AI might take us out, whatever. You know, it's an exciting time to be alive. Everything's great. And I love what you said about the dentist, man. Like, I'm so impressed with professionals, people that have dedicated themselves to something. You know, like, I don't care if the person who's driving the ship is male or female, as long as you're obsessed with ships. That's what I give a fuck about. Like, do they, you know, if the pilot's male or female, I don't care, as long as they're fucking obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And they really like it, you know, and they're happy to do it. Mm-hmm. That's what's cool. So I met I was talking to a lawyer recently, and he was saying, you know, my wife was in the conversation as well, and she was thinking about going to law school. And he's like, oh, good on you. You realized and you didn't come, like, well done. You know, and I thought, like, I know he was just creating a joke, and it was well suited. It was good. But I remember just thinking about it and thinking, like, I'm so impressed by this guy that he's a lawyer. You know, like, think of all the boring paperwork he's just gone through, all the hours, people in conflict and resolving conflicts and representing, going to court, man, like putting on suits every day. Like, I was like, that would just be hard. Mm-hmm. But, like, at least he looks classy. His office is probably very clean. Yeah. You know, so part of me I was just impressed with him. So chickens are having a battle.
Welcome to Ecuador, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Hierarchy, bro. One of the roosters is trying to be like, I'm the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
There might be a power struggle going on. It's got my dog interested anyway.
I love it. I love it.
You get the hose and just spray them.
Why do you find it so valuable to, I mean, you've gotten to live in multiple countries. Who knows how many different people you've met, from rich people to poor people to this culture to that culture to different languages to completely different day-to-day lives. You know, I say this often now. I mean, here in Ecuador on the daily, I see families on a motorcycle, like 4 or 5 people, little babies, young kids, no helmets. And here it's like, I feel like they're revered. The father is revered. Like, he is taking care of all of his responsibilities with the money that he does have access to. I mean, he's probably running errands. He's being a good dad. He's providing all the things. And yet, if there was a family riding around on a motorcycle in America with little kids or a baby and no helmets and all that, like, dude, that guy's going to prison. I mean, we're calling DHS, and they're probably getting their kids taken away from him. What in your experience, getting such a lot of people never leave their country. A lot of people never even experience other cultures. A lot of people don't even realize that their whole world is actually just a little world. What have you seen? What is the value of having all your paradigms, all the ideologies of how life should be lived, what is right, what is wrong, what people should be doing, what people shouldn't be doing? What's the value of having all of that just blown up because of the fact that you've gotten to experience so much diversity over your lifetime so far?
Dude, that is a very good question. Before I answer, do you want me to sort this out? Do you want me to get these chickens to shut up?
They're not bothering me.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think, you bring up such a good point. The fact that, like, if a man had his 3 kids and his wife on his motorbike in America, he'd be considered completely reckless.
Oh.
But that's what
Criminal.
life, criminal, yeah.
Yeah.
Just be in so much trouble, yeah. But then the weird thing about America is, like, I had a motorbike. I did a tourist visa in Colorado, and to save money, you didn't need a helmet there legally on a motorbike, so I didn't wear one. You go the next state over, you need a helmet. Like, yeah, I think what it's shown me is places with more rules, people tend to be actually more unhappy. You know, like, even though Ecuador has its dangers, you know, like here, for example, if someone gets murdered, the likelihood of the cops figuring out is pretty slim. You know, if they did it in private, you know, like if they were far away and it was known as there was no witnesses, the chances of, like, the cops matching that bullet, like, they're just, you see the police station here, it's just a shack, and they don't really have technology and shit. So there's that downside to it, but because you can ride with your entire family on a motorcycle, what that means is that man is able to take his kids to school, take his wife to work, and then go to work himself and spends maybe $3 a week on petrol. But because of those rules in America, that means that poor people don't have transport. You know, so I feel like, it makes you realize that, like, humans are just doing their best, but they're just creating rules that suit them, and often rules that are put in place that benefit a few and not everybody. And yeah, life is like, I think the main thing I've taken away from all this travel is, like, we're from, like Joe Rogan said this on this podcast, if you make more than $32,000 a year, you're in the 1% richest group of people. 99% of everyone else on the planet makes less than $32,000 a year.
Wow.
You know, so, like, in our countries, like, especially in America, there's so much conflict that's fabricated by the media, but they say, like, screw the rich, you know, let's kill, like, you're the rich.
Yeah.
You've made it.
Right.
Everyone envies you. Everyone wants to, like, a lot of people want to say, fuck you, give me some money.
Yeah.
Give me 15 grand.
Right.
You have 15 grand, I'll have 15 grand. You know, like, it's just crazy. Like, we're privileged. So, and it's so funny, something that is, like, black people in America are privileged compared to most people on the planet. But there's a whole thing about white privilege, which is real.
Sure.
But still, it's like, if you live in America, you live in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, these European countries, you're privileged. You've made it. You're in that narrow group of kicking ass. Like, like India just has billions of people, and most of them are poor. Like, you know, like most people, so many people wake up every day to nothing. And I think that's what I've taken away from it is, like, I didn't choose to be born where I was born. I didn't choose to be from New Zealand, but man, I'm thankful. Like, I won the lottery, you know?
Yeah.
I did. I won the lottery.
I think that is the only response to anything that is privilege, blessed, good, advantage, whatever. Like, the only response I know that feels responsible at all is gratitude. And I don't see how me then, like, feeling bad about what I was just cosmically and randomly given, like to shrink then because I'm trying to be like everybody else who didn't get what I was handed. That doesn't serve me well. That doesn't serve anybody well. I like to think of the word stewardship. Like what if I just think about how can I be a good steward with gratitude for what I was handed?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Individual responsibility. Like, what can I do to make a better world? Like if you've got privilege, man, you better be using it instead of just walking around being like, I'm privileged, this is unfair for you. Like, who's getting benefit out of that?
Exactly.
You know, but if you've got privilege, like let's say you have a trust fund and you start a company that's successful, now you've just employed a bunch of people.
Correct.
Now they have, they can pay rent and food.
Yeah.
If you've got privilege, I think you should absolutely be grateful for it and use it. Be aware that you have it and other people are less fortunate than you. But man, every human can think of other humans that are not as fortunate as them.
Yeah.
There are people that are born blind and deaf, every human can think about, but like you could be born into the richest family in the world, but be born with a severe disability.
Correct.
Life is, just being able to smell like fresh grass in the morning and feel sun on your skin, and to be fully able to, man, that's privilege, man.
Unbelievable. Well, and we already know this, and I was going to ask you, I was curious to know if you knew a stat. I mean, the stats on the amount of millionaires and even billionaires that end up committing suicide, it's pretty insane, actually. I'm curious, on the other end of the spectrum, I'd love to know, I wish I knew, do you have any idea what is like the suicide rate for like people in poverty? Like, we always think like they have it so worse. But it would be fascinating if the stats actually showed that more people with money are actually the ones committing suicide than the ones without much money. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it was, that's kind of like, whoa, what do we do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said there for sure. It reminds me of like when you're a child, or this still does happen to me as an adult sometimes. If you've gone away on a hike or in nature and you've forgotten to bring water, or you've gone somewhere and you haven't had access to water. This happened a lot when you're a kid, right? You'd just be playing recklessly.
Yeah.
So like you don't think about water as like life-giving. You just think about it as like it's just readily available. You've got water. So many people don't have water. But man, if you've ever experienced being really thirsty and then you finally had water, you're just like it's the ultimate drink.
Right.
And I think that's the thing with people who have absolutely nothing. Everything is a win. Everything. They're suffering all the time. So anytime they can alleviate that suffering, they're like, for a second they feel better. So I feel like, they were born into something that they just had to accept, which is just like being at the bottom. And the imagination of being at the top is better. And I will say this as well, though. This kind of leans into an interesting topic for you. That's where religion comes in handy. Because people that have nothing, the whole idea of like this life is you work hard in this life to earn your place in the afterlife. I think that's what keeps a lot of people going who have absolutely nothing. The idea that like the suffering makes sense. You're meant to suffer. You're meant to be grateful and good and give prayers and say thanks to God for putting you on the planet. Because this is a stepping stone to the glorious afterlife. And I think that actually, I think religion can oppress people, but it can also actually keep people waking up in the morning and trying despite having everything against them.
Yeah, it kind of feels like, once again, you could almost say everything's neutral. It can at times harm people, and other times it can be an incredibly helpful tool. And that's probably the case about religion, money, all kinds of things, Let's talk about food for a second. What are your thoughts around diet? What's been your discoveries around, is there one way to eat? Are there multiple factors? Does the part of the world that you live in, or what your body type is, or blood type, like you seem to be one that likes to study the technicalities. I'd love to hear your thoughts around. I mean, we all got to eat. We got to eat every day. And have you tried different diets? Have you been in different lifestyles? Do you ever notice that sometimes it feels like eating a certain way puts you into a cult, if you will, versus how do I just listen to my body? Can that change over time? I mean, I know I'm kind of hitting you with a bunch of questions inside that one category, but what have you discovered in 35 years on the planet around food?
Yeah, I mean, I was raised vegetarian by my mother. Then she included meat into my diet when I was about 4. And I think it was because we weren't growing efficiently. And I think she was kind of like diehard vegetarian at the time. But I think in the back of her mind, she's like, maybe a bit of meat's a good idea. So I grew up eating everything. My twin brother came to Latin America for a year on a student exchange, and we're identical. So like we're the same height, weight, all of that. He came back after a year living here eating rice and beans. He came back this much shorter, and a lot lighter, like 30 pounds lighter, maybe more.
Wow.
And he caught up again once he got back, but forever he's an inch shorter. So I really do think that like proper nutrition actually makes people the right size that they're meant to be. Like if you're actually eating the right amount of things. The only cult I've ever joined was becoming a vegan. It's complete. And it's so funny. Everyone that I was vegan with now predominantly eats meat.
Oh, wow.
And not just a little bit of meat, like it's their main thing on the plate.
Yeah.
When I was vegan, I was bloated beyond belief. I was incredibly lean. I was ripped. I looked good. Like I had my muscles all stuck out. I had great abs. I was a lot lighter than I am now. I'm pretty tall, so I was about like 180 pounds at like 6'4", so I looked really lean.
Yeah.
But dude, it was hard. Like I would go on dates with girls and just be holding in farts the entire time. And then I'd always run off to the bathroom and be like, excuse me. And then anyone is around and I'd just let rip. And sometimes I would hold in so many farts that my body would get tense and then I wasn't able to let it out. Like it was bad for my health being a vegan. It hurt my stomach. I got a lot of reactions. Now in terms of diet, I'm predominantly eating meat and fruit with you on this carnivore challenge.
Yeah.
And my bloating's completely gone.
Wow.
I basically had no wind at all. I told you I slipped up the other night in the middle of this challenge and ate a bunch of crackers with cheese on them, and it was delicious. It was great. But just that alone, just say maybe a dozen crackers, immediately bloated, sore belly. Wow. So I'm still undecided as to what's the right way, but I definitely feel like, meat is, we've been eating, we were hunter-gatherers before we were agricultural cultivators. So it makes sense that our DNA is very accustomed to digesting and turning meat into energy. Yeah. I do think I love vegetables. They're absolutely delicious. I love cooking with them. I love cooking. So like I'm totally into vegetables. I think they're wonderful. I love fruits. But I avoid most vegetables these days. Tomatoes screw me up. Cabbage is bad for me. Leafy greens are okay, but only some of them. Broccoli, terrible for me. Cauliflower, like a lot of people realize, like broccoli isn't native. It's not growing in the bush. It's like a hybrid between a few other brassicas and stuff and also like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. They're all essentially the different variations of the same vegetable that is man-made. So I feel like when you study like the African tribes that they'll boil beans like 3 or 4 times so they don't get poisoned by them. I feel like basically all vegetables kind of started in that realm. Like essentially we would eat them and be like, ugh, but we'd survive the winter. We'd get enough nutrients out of them to carry on. And I feel like we've genetically bred them to be more juicy, more delicious, more readily available. So yeah, they're great. But just to finish that off, the meat industry is so broken. Like anything industrial is just full of bullshit, you know, like farm, like cage eggs. The chickens are fed so much corn that the eggs have seed oils in them to like a dangerous level, you know. So you might avoid, you know, eating potato chips and crackers and using canola oil in your cooking, but you don't buy free range eggs. Well, now you just got seed oils again. Like there's glyphosate in America. Like glyphosate is water soluble, and all the plants have genetically been bred over there to withstand glyphosate, but nothing else can. So like an insect will be on your tomato, glyphosate gets sprayed over it, the insect's stomach explodes and it dies, but the tomato carries on growing. And glyphosate is water soluble, so it goes into humidity. 75% of the rainwater in America has glyphosate in it.
Damn.
You know, so like, and that's all vegetables, man. Like cows don't want to eat, if cows eat glyphosated grass, which they are, but the cows will get tumors and die. You know, so like, but yeah, I think the modern world, we've made vegetables readily available and massive, but I reckon majority of them are terrible for your health.
Yeah.
Just because of these chemicals, genetic engineering, etc.
Yeah.
But I also believe that there are really medicinal parts to it as well. And I certainly think some people digest vegetables a lot better. My wife tends to digest vegetables a lot better than I do. I think people can be vegan and vegetarian for their entire lives and be fine. I guess from my personal point of view, I'm just trying to figure out what's optimal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't just want to get by. I want to live a really long time. And I also think it's ridiculous to say because this cute cow or deer or, you know, fish or whatever it is that you're eating dies, therefore I can live. Like, yeah, it's not cool. Like, it'd be great if we could all live off sunlight, you know?
Right.
But like that mango tree that you can see over there, like a black fungus likes to eat it, and so do all the ants and the wasps and the birds. So for me to like figure that out, I have to cover the tree in a net, and still the fungus would get through and some things would get through. But like a field of quinoa is sprayed with chemicals to kill all the life. Like all the vegan products require the sacrifice of insects and small rodents and all these things just for the vegan world to exist. So whether you're a vegan or a meat eater, something's dying so you can live. You know, and it's just horrible. But like I said, if a lion would chase deer and catch the baby because it's slower, you don't think of the lion as bad. It's just the way that it is. This world is a balance between good and evil, and one of the nasty things we do is kill things so we can survive. You know, I think I just, for me personally, my father's a big hunter and he really likes it, and that's what I want to do moving forward. Is I want to get into hunting so I can handle the karma when the thing dies. Like I've shot goats before, and as you're cutting open their bellies and breaking them down, like you feel terrible. You're like, it's such a beautiful creature. You feel horrible that you were so hungry, like in the hunt, in terms of like energetically, you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it. I'm so into it. The moment it's dead, you just have this crash of emotions. You're like, you feel sad and you're grieving, and you're in its home. You've snuck your way into its home and its wild house, and you've taken its life. But then, you know, you kind of heal from that trauma, and by the time you're eating it, you feel filled with protein and energy, and you didn't go to the supermarket and buy something that lived in a cage. You know, so. Yeah,
I need to introduce you to my friend Brandon Neal in Utah, man. I think he even has ownership in a hunting expedition company. Yeah, you would enjoy him. He's a great human.
I want to get into it. I'd love to meet him.
Okay, I'll make sure and introduce you. So I got two final thoughts, man, as we wrap up here. One, we kind of started off back, when you first joined the show, part one. And of course, Barlow was intrigued to have you share about all that you're involved in when it comes to mushrooms. And you've really spent a lot of time even understanding it. I'm learning every time I listen to you, even though I've experienced them a few times. Like, I'm definitely not as knowledgeable as you are. I would love for you to just kind of share, as we're wrapping up here, Kim, what, for people that might be intrigued about plant medicine or using these, I don't know if it's okay to refer to them as a psychedelic, but something holistically in a way that might improve their life or help them work through something or take them to a different place in their own mind or in their own being so that they can let go of trauma or work through maybe an addiction or have something come up that they weren't even realizing was a part of their operating system and is really continuing to be destructive in their life. What would you just like to say to people who've never experienced mushrooms, who might have been told they're, of the devil or they're evil or they're bad, or maybe they're just terrified of feeling out of control? And just like what would be your words of encouragement? Because I know for me, even when the trips that I've taken have been difficult, I'm always so thankful though for what came about. And for what I gained in perspective. So it almost reminds me of just how the entire trip of life is. It's like, you're going to have to be okay that it's not all, it's not all just fun and games along the way. Sometimes it sucks, it's hard, it's suffering, it's challenging. But I do have to say, I think the way the ultimate life trip ends is we're going to be okay. And always at the end of my mushroom trips, I'm more than okay.
Yeah. I think you've spoken to everyone really there. They can take away from what you've said. It's like you're nine times out of 10 more. You're always going to be fine. Like, it can't kill you. You can't overdose on it. Like, I think you can, but you'd have to eat your body weight.
God.
Which you can't eat anything in your body weight.
No way.
Also, like, the mushrooms look after you, so it's like, even if you take too much, they're not going to, like, I don't know, you can get really rocked, but you'll be okay,
Yeah.
Disclaimer, however, anyone on SSRIs, you've got to talk to your doctor about getting off them or weaning off them, because SSRIs are using serotonin. Mushrooms use serotonin. So if you're on SSRIs and you take mushrooms, you won't feel anything. And if you take other psychedelics on SSRIs, it can be very, very dangerous. You can die in extreme cases, but it doesn't work well with MDMA or ayahuasca. So I know that like a third of people in the United States, I think, are on SSRIs. So if you're on SSRIs, forget about psychedelics until you've figured that out, and know the fact that exercising 4 times a week is more effective than SSRIs anyway. So there are other methods, but getting off SSRIs is heavy. So like, for people that have never done psychedelics, just think of it like nature. Like, you think about mushrooms and you're like, aren't they poisonous? Like, don't they make you crazy? Mushrooms were legal in the Netherlands up until 1996. People have been taking mushrooms for hundreds of years, so they've been illegal longer than they were. For a shorter amount of time than they were legal for. Yeah. If you went out on any hike and walked into the bush and started eating the plants, you'd probably die pretty quickly. You'd get a really sore stomach. You'd eat, like all plants and trees and all these things, they've got things in there that'll feed you, that are medicines, and will kill you. And mushrooms are the exact same. Some mushrooms are medicine, reishi, chaga, turkey tail. They've got these anti-cancerous properties. They're just medicinal. You're going to have no psychedelic effects. Magic mushrooms are going to be therapeutic for your mind, and a lot of them are culinary. They're going to feed you and fill you with vitamins and proteins, minerals, and a ton of them will just kill you. So everything comes due to lack of knowledge, and we have no shortage of information. Everyone has access to the internet, so you can ask all these questions into the internet and find out more about them. But the main thing is what you said is, do people, like, if you know that you love being in control, but it kind of is harming your life and your relationships a little bit, you need to get into mushrooms, because you actually have a nasty time if you try and control the psychedelic experience. If you try and say, no, I don't like this, I want it to stop, you're going to have a bad trip. These are the ultimate, right in your face things to help you let go. But for anyone that's never done these, you can just start at the beginning. Like when you first try alcohol, you're never going to drink 12 beers in one go or a full bottle of wine. You're going to have a glass of wine or 1 or 2 beers. Do the same things with psychedelics. Have microdoses. Start with microdoses.
Yeah.
Take them, 2 or 3 times a week. See how they go. Try a gram of mushrooms. See how that goes. Think, could I do 2? Walk your way in. Don't jump into the deep end. Form a relationship with these things, and then get into it. I know that you're laughing because you jump in the deep end every single time, especially randomly on a Tuesday night.
Oh, I do. Yeah. But, I've just come to, it's just, I don't even resist it anymore. It's what I'm drawn to. It's who I enjoy being. It's how I go about it. And I think what's really freed me up more than anything is I allow myself to just to be me. And what's so cool is as I've allowed myself to be me, it frees me up to let everyone else be them. And it sure beats living the alternative where you're constantly thinking you should be something different, less, more, that, whatever. And then you're constantly thinking everybody else should change and be less or more or different than. Like, dude, I mean, living that way basically led me to cancer. I mean, living that way created so much dis-ease inside of me that I was chronically ill for 80% of my adult life. Like, it's just not a fun way to go about your human existence, So if you like jumping in the deep end right out of the get-go, do it. If you prefer to just step in on the ladder and the shallow end and just slowly work your way in, I don't think it's a better than or a worse than. I don't think it's right or wrong. I just think do you, like really do you. And the only way you're going to do you is if you can just realize that you can't mess it up. You can't get it wrong, which means you're also not getting it right, which means be fascinated. Like, enjoy the guy jumping in the deep end, even though you may never be willing to do that. Just watch the show, right? Like, be entertained, And if you're the one that jumps in the deep end, well, cool. That's what you were handed. But don't look down on anybody else because they have a process that they need to go through or their timeline looks different. To me, that's what's been revolutionary in my way of thinking and my way of being. And it's just brought me so much more peace and contentment and just pure enjoyment. Even when circumstances aren't ideal, I still find myself very content, very at peace and free. And, it's like I heard Peter Crone say this, right? When a circumstance presents itself, you only have 2 options. Do something about it or don't. Like that's it. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate it, Kim, it's just such an honor to know you, buddy. It's just been such a pleasure to have you on the show for 4 episodes. Guys, thanks so much again for tuning into the Ryan Luelf Show, man. You never know what it's going to be like. You never know what guests we're going to have on. You never know what the hell's going to come out of my mouth. Hopefully you're entertained. Hopefully you get perspectives and ideas that maybe otherwise you wouldn't have considered. I'm not attached to what you do with it, but I love self-expression. I'm drawn to speaking and content and putting myself out there, and whatever unfolds, I'm here to experience, I'm here to participate, and I'm here to fully be alive in this present moment. So thanks again. That was part 4 with my buddy Kim from Vilcabamba, Ecuador. We'll see you next time on the Ryan Luelf Show.
Oh, hey, it's me again, Barlow. So I want to let you know that what Ryan Luelf is coaching, it's super real. Not programmed, not premeditated, and not inspired by anything other than raw truths and an unconditional love formatted by Source. You. Ryan's testimony is real. His life experience is indicative of a program he designed to not only transform one's self-identity and purpose, but to give a new outlook of what real, unprogrammed life could be, and at its highest, most enjoyable frequency once the preconditioned societal norms have been dismantled, erased. His work is raw, real, and life-altering. If you want more of this content, we have 2 places that you can go. You can join Ryan Luelf's School, SKOOL, for raw, unedited versions of his podcast and him personally, or you can book a free simple clarity call for men needing to be heard, needing to be understood, or just given hope, someone to listen, to say that life is as real as your conscience allows. Those calls are designed to help you gain clarity. They're called clarity calls, and they're free. We hope that you allow us to help you, and then if we can help you, then you can let you. Pretty simple.